Welcome to the Redvee TV preview show, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2022 season, as we look ahead to this week's round 12 Betfred Super League clash against Hull FC at the Totally Wicked Stadium. We are 24 hours late because Kev was still sweating out the Guinness.
I'm on something slightly less strong today. Yeah. Great day, though. Apart from the result, great day.
The bit you remember?
Well, I don't remember doing instant fan reaction. I can't lie to you. Yeah, don't remember it. Not going to watch it. Apparently, I've been winding people up. I'd like
Kev, you caught an absolutely massive one on our YouTube.
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah, you're going to tell people, or
that's no fire.
Oh, you know what? I'm not one who goes out fishing.
That's my job.
I think that anything that was said after about 3 o'clock on Saturday maybe wouldn't stand up in a court of law. And this is what I get for going out on the ale and drinking with someone who drinks like a grid. Drinking with an empty head.
Can I just say, I dropped you off at 12 o'clock. I rejoined you at 4:30 and was like, oh no.
It wouldn't surprise me if I didn't have 8 pints just in the course of the game.
Yeah.
That doesn't even count before the game.
Doesn't make anybody who watched that video surprised. But you know what? Listen, we move on. Congratulations to Wigan for making the Challenge Cup final. Old rivalry. I thought we threw the game away ourselves a little bit as a collective team based on performance in the first half. Plays that didn't go right. But essentially, do you know what? That's what makes the Saints-Wigan rivalry so good, because we'll trounce them 9 times out of 10, but there's always that 1 in 10 where they do us. And unfortunately, they did us on this occasion to make the cup final. So, do you know what? I've just been having a quick look at Spurs and Arsenal on the telly. Didn't want to go there anyway. Horrible stadium.
I thought you'd started doing another instant fan reaction for me there, one that I'd remember. Yeah, as you say, we move on from it. Listen, it's disappointing. It's a disappointing result, especially I think we just gave ourselves too much to do, didn't we? But we move on back to the bread and butter of the league this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is still 2 trophies out of the 3 for Saints to win this season. Win one that we lost out last season and retain the other for the 4th time in a row. We are still the best team in the competition. We're still the favourites to do that. And we've now got plenty of time to build up to hopefully a grand final at the end of September. I think we've said before, Kev, haven't we? If sport was a foregone conclusion, there'd be no point going to watch.
Yeah, we've said it loads of times. We've said it ever since we started doing these videos. That's the whole point of going to sport. Yeah, you want to see your team win, but it is about the jeopardy as well. And it's better for the league when you've got games that you can't predict, rather than keep turning around and saying it's going to be Saints by 30, 32, 36, 40, whatever per week. It is better for the league when all teams are competitive, and hopefully we can go towards that.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you know what? That's what made the Women's Challenge Cup final so good on Sunday. Because that game was in doubt.
Yes.
And the women had to step up, and they got the job done. And I'm sure that the players themselves, the ladies themselves, would say they'd much rather play in a contest like that than games where they're winning 60 or 70-0.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I'd imagine you're right.
Right, squad for this week, Kev.
Yeah. So
give it to me, Kevin.
Oh.
And all the Saints fans said, "Oh, I didn't mess that up."
Don't.
And all the Saints said, "You're pretty fly for a Saints guy."
Oh, God. Right, anyway, James Bell is back after suspension. And Juma Sambu comes into the 21-man squad. Kyler Moore and Regan Grace, whose return is being managed, the two to drop out.
Yeah, listen, if there's any such doubts over Regan's fitness or even in his rehab, we've now got 18, 19 rounds before a playoff game. Absolutely no reason to risk when you've got players in the squad who can fill in. Interesting to note that Juma Sambu's coming to the squad this week. It just makes you get the feeling that we might go into the game with a winger playing in a winger's position rather than trying to muddle players into different areas.
Yeah, it looks that way. It strikes me as there could have been, like, Kyler Moore could have stayed in there, or we might have, I don't know, left Sam or brought Sam Royal in. But that to me, unless it's getting him in and around the 21 and getting him kind of used to what they do on a match day and everything like that. The only other thing that you can say is it looks like we may well just have a little bit of a play around with that back line and, as you say, play a winger in a winger's spot.
Now, Johnny Lomax played in the semi-final.
Did he?
Apparently with that torn bicep, apparently it's not going to get any worse. He did play, Kev.
Yeah.
He wasn't sure. I don't know whether you can remember anything past the warm-up. So, yeah, he was out on the field. Now, Christian Wolf has said that injury won't get any worse if he plays on till the end of the season. During that semi-final, he defended at fullback. Is that likely to be the plan going forward?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? If they're gonna keep throwing him out there, obviously the loss of Lewis Dodd means that he's probably going to have to play more games than they would like. He'd probably start turning around and giving him weeks off if we had Lewis Dodd still in there. I can see him attacking at 6 and defending at 1. I can see that happening for the rest of the season, and just switching up with Jack Wells being and making sure that he's not got as much work to do. It makes sense if we're going to nurse him through the rest of the season. It just makes complete sense to me doing that.
Now, the next question I'm going to ask you: does Ben Davies stay in the halves this week? Now, can I give him my opinion, and then you can give me yours? Now,
of course you can.
He had a decent game at Cass, obviously against lesser opposition. First half against Wigan, he didn't have the greatest of games. He was pretty anonymous. But for me, that was on the back of a pack that wasn't laying the platform. First half, I don't think we, as a team, we put ourselves in the right positions for the likes of Ben Davies to show what he can do. And equally, do you know what? It was the first time that half-back partnership had played together. For me, if that's what you're potentially looking at, I think you need to give it 3 or 4 games and then reevaluate. It may not be the solution until the end of the year, but you've got to give it more than a semi-final defeat against Wigan, where there was multiple reasons we lost the game before you. Is it throwing the baby out with the bathwater?
Yeah.
Is that the saying?
Yeah. Well done. You know what, Dave? As you were talking there, unfortunately, I agree with you. I don't think I could almost see Christian going back to having James Roby at 7 and just having that old steady head in there and just getting us round the park. But we can always go back to that. And I think that if you're going to try something in the semi-final against Wigan, I don't know, I'd be inclined, if I was coach, I'd be inclined to stick with that. And I'd be inclined to kind of give Ben Davies a bit of time to get used to playing in the halves again, because I'm sure he played there as a youngster. Get kind of used to how we play and how his role is in with the team. And as you said, if it's not working 3 or 4 games in, then you turn around and think, well, actually, I'm just going to go back and Robes is going to play 7 for the rest of the year, or whatever combo you want to put in there. But I think, yeah, I'd stick with it this week, to be fair. I would stick with it this week.
Potentially, at that point, another 3 or 4 games down the line, you've got Regan Grace back. Potentially, you go Wellesby and Lomax in the halves, drop Tommy back to full back and put Regan on the wing at that point.
You could do. I mean, as I say, I like not changing too much. And I think if you're going to start changing your combinations up throughout the year, you need to get kind of that rhythm. They need to get used to playing with each other. You don't want to be swapping it every 3-4 weeks just because you've got someone who's fit now and you put him in and all of a sudden somebody gets suspended. Well, you've got to start switching it about again. I think you need to keep it a lot more settled than that. I think that if it works, Davies stays there a bit longer term, possibly changing up with Roby when he needs a week off because he's not used to playing the rigours of a pretty much full Super League season. Or you can, if it's not working, just go with Lomax and Roby metronomic in the halves. Takes him out of having to do a lot of work at hooker as well.
Yeah. Who misses out this week for you, Kev?
You know what? That is a massive call this week. I
could almost see Joe Batchelor missing out this week,
Giving him a week off.
Just giving him a week off because I can't remember too many occasions where he's not been involved heavily. And I just think, is this chance just to give him a week off, recharge the batteries, back in next game, and chuck James Bell in?
I suppose he had the week off at Castleford though, so it's
everyone did, not counting that one.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I can see one of the someone like even Robes getting a week off, and Lussick does 90 minutes.
Is this important that we win this week though? Given we're coming off the back of a loss, and you don't want to turn one game for Saints is a bad result.
Yeah.
2 losses on the bounce for Saints suddenly becomes a crisis. And I say that tongue in cheek, but
yeah,
we don't do back-to-back losses. We do back-to-back titles.
Yeah, it does on social media, doesn't it? We'll do in our responses or the responses we get. I think it is important we win this week, and I don't necessarily think it's a foregone conclusion if we got away we want against Salford, and the first half against Wigan, we just didn't turn up. I think Matty Pete actually said that Saints weren't at the best. So we need to make sure that whoever's chosen in that pack turns up. I'm still trying to find 4 to miss out there, by the way. I think it's a struggle. You'd imagine, I don't know, if we're going to give people a rest, or if we're not going to give people a rest, you'd imagine it would be Wingfield, Dan Norman. Depends what we go on the wing. That looks like a Josh Sim or Juma Sambu, unless there's a knock to Tommy Makinson. That looks like a decision between them. I don't know, because I'd have James Bell in, because I think since he's come in, he's given us some energy in the pack. So I could almost see either Roby or, as you say, Joe Batchelor getting a bit of a rest. One of the first choice pack men getting a rest, and us being able to put James Bell in there.
Yeah, I'd go. Do you know what? I think because we're not building up to anything now in terms of looking ahead to a final in a couple of weeks' time, you almost think Christian's default is to play his best available side.
Yes, yeah,
and try and build a bit of a buffer as well up, because obviously you could almost see Wigan losing this week at Huddersfield.
Yeah,
I say that when I check the score and it's 18-6. By the way.
Fair enough.
Not exactly Nostradamus, but if he goes with his best 17, for me, you think Jake Wingfield just misses out. Dan Norman probably misses out. One of Josh Sim or Juma Sambu, depending on who's chosen on the wing this week. And then I'll go Louis for the week off.
It's a big call, isn't it?
You can justify anybody playing, and you could justify anybody having a week off. Pretty much.
You can.
But obviously, we need to get the win. Now, listen, we're playing a Hull FC side who have come into decent form, haven't they?
Have they?
Come on, Kev.
I'll tell you.
Tell us about the squad. Well, he won 3 on the bounce.
Well, you know what? I say this every single year. I feel like I repeat myself over and over again. Listen, there is a strong Hull team at the moment, Hull KR. But the city of Hull needs a good team over there to be challenging for honours.
That is a little unfair considering the Black and Whites are 2 points above Hull KR in the table.
I think
and they're only 4 points off Saints. If they win, they close the gap between us and them to 2 points.
I think Hull KR, I don't know. They just seem like a more exciting team to me. Hull KR. I think they do. And yeah, maybe I am being a little bit harsh on them. But just you feel like Hull can throw in a performance. Like you mentioned before, you're watching Spurs Arsenal, and I know Spurs are winning, but they can be a bit Spursy. They can throw in that absolute stinker. As you say, they're in a bit of form at the minute, and with our last 2 performances, it's no foregone conclusion that we'll win this game.
Yeah, you look at their squad numbers 1 to 17, 11, 15, 16 missing. So it's a pretty fit squad at the moment. To be their number 27 looks over his shoulder when he's not playing well.
Yes.
Hook him off.
I love how you always need to try and find a pun in the opposition squad.
I love how easy it is to usually do as well.
Yeah, very good.
Number 23 doesn't like to lose. And number 27, constantly getting pulled.
I'm surprised you've not gone with number 29, likes getting wrapped up. It's the same intelligence, isn't it? Sure.
But if you're posh, you go with number 30.
Yes. Is that us done now for puns?
Yeah.
Good.
Number 2 is quite quick on the wing.
Well, he is, and you know what? Swifty seems to be having a good time over there as well. He seems to have kind of found his place with them now, and it's good to see. He's always a good servant for Saints, wasn't he? So
yeah, and you always felt he was unlucky. We always said that Saints had decent wingers, and unfortunately, he just was the odd man out when Regan Grace came into the side. And you almost feel if Adam Swift was at Saints at this moment in time, he'd be getting games on the wing.
Oh yeah, of course he would be. Yeah, of course he would. But that's how it goes. And listen, we talk about it in depth, and we kind of keep going on and on and on about it. But that's what salary cap does to you. You can't afford to keep 3 good wingers at your club, especially when you're paying the money for your positions, such as your props, your halfback, your fullbacks. You tend to, I'd imagine you don't spend an awful lot of your salary cap on your wingers. You use it on the key positions, your 13 and the likes, your hookers, don't you? You're not necessarily going to use it on your wingers. So when you've got 3 who probably are on a decent wage, you've probably got a decision to make, haven't you?
Absolutely. Predictions then, Kev?
I'm going to go Saints with tight one and win by 7.
7?
Yeah.
I've actually gone for Saints by 10. I'm just hoping the weather's not a number 7. Saints get a 23, and we put Hull in the number 20.
Very good. Very, very good. Well done.
All right, so this stuff, aren't I? Right, back on the horse then this week, Kev. Looking forward to it. Back at the Totally Wicked. Hopefully the fans will be there to support the team. We will be back tomorrow. Well, today, if you're watching this tomorrow. Or if you're watching this on Saturday, then the game's already happened. We'll be back for the instant fan reaction. Hopefully following another Saints win. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And you'll see our pretty faces pretty soon.